plain soda, not flavored. And actually, it was pretty good. I felt like a real adult.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And the DC streaming service might launch in August, Mike.
Ooh, I'm excited.
That's a lot closer than I thought it would be, actually. The Defenders may not get a second chance or more on Netflix.
Ooh, I've been waiting to hear about that, man.
Mm-hmm. You got to sit through all of the trailers, like Spider-Man, Lego Movie, and even Bumblebee to get through the movie news, Mike. And more.
Just like real trailers.
Yes, just like a real movie. Just like a real movie. That's what we are now. We're real entertainment value.
But this week has been insanely packed with news, not just for superhero stuff, but just like nerdy stuff in general, kind of stuff that we're not gonna really cover on the show because we like to keep it to superheroes. But earlier this week there was the Worldwide Developers Conference for Apple. So if you got an iPhone and you got iPads and stuff and you want to look into the new iOS features, they got all that stuff out there. E3's kicking off earlier than I thought it would. Like back in my day, Chris, when I was a kid, E3 was on the weekday and you had to stream it in the middle of the day, either when you're at school or later in life when I was at the office. But now, like, I hear that things are kicking off on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm just like, what's going on here? This was supposed to happen on Monday, and then you're like, oh, we gotta wait to record. I gotta watch this Xbox conference.
That's right. I mean, yesterday was I forget. I think it was EA's was yesterday, and Xbox was right before this. I was like, we can do it before or after, but I gotta watch this. And speaking of WWDC and E3, highly disappointing this year to me, Mike. I think old age has finally hit me. I mean, I don't know. There's no features coming for the iPhone that I'm really like.
There are some great old man features that I love that are coming to the iPhone.
Oh no!
Where they're introducing a new "Do Not Disturb While Sleeping" feature.
Yeah.
The most groundbreaking thing I think I would ever want on a phone. I don't know if you guys know this out there, but my phone is on Do Not Disturb 24/7 all the time because I'm a compulsive phone checker. I'm always looking at it anyway. Or I'm either in front of a computer that's connected to my phone, so I'm always going to see like a little blue circle on my monitor anyway. So I have no need for my phone to let me know when something's there. And also, I think it's a good rule of thumb for everybody out there in the world that don't just let people assume that you're instantly available at any time. You know, it's good to give people a good 10, 15-minute buffer before you get back to them because you don't want people to think that, you know, they can just grab your attention. That's what phone calls are for. If somebody ever phone calls me, I know it's serious, but like if you're sending there's no such thing as a serious text message that you need answered quickly. That's what phone calls are for.
And well, I'm more of a get back to you in 10 or 15 days kind of person, so I definitely feel you. But I understand that my work, I work in real estate. Real estate doesn't work 9 to 5. Real estate is 24/7 out here. So I do gotta let some people know I can't help you after 5 o'clock. I will try my best, but I get it. So there's that. And E3, all I wanted out of E3, Mike, from Microsoft was a Halo announcement. And they did a Halo, it's called Halo Infinite, which I think is the next evolution of it. Halo, where it's more of a
is it another tactics game?
No. It's more of a Halo becomes more of a service than an actual like video game you buy every couple of years.
Weird.
Because most games are doing what are called year 1, year 2, where they have updates every year that like big updates and changes to the game. And Halo 5 has been out it's been almost 3 years now, and I'm waiting on my Halo 6. Gotta wrap up the story, but I'm interested to see where it goes and see if maybe something else comes out of this because sometimes there are things on the floor we don't see during the big presentations. So, glad to do that. I also got to say, I ended up had to get up at 6:30 yesterday morning, Mike. I was just telling you this. My wife was taking my cousins to the Color Run. Are you familiar with the Color Run?
I'm familiar with those. They throw like a bunch of colored powder at you.
Yeah, and you're supposed to run. Or that's at the end. I don't know when the color happens. I don't go. There's no way to watch those things like very comfortably. So my uncle stayed here with me, and starting at like 7:30 in the morning, we put on Black Panther. and we booked through Black Panther and Infinity War yesterday morning before noon. So
wow,
it was his first time for both of those. So I was really excited to be with someone who hadn't read everything and didn't know everything. So at the beginning of Infinity War, he thought Thor was dead for like the rest of the movie. So I was like, this is really exciting, like to be with someone who doesn't know what's going on, and like their disappointment and their emotional roller coaster ride through the whole thing. So
just get ready till the end. You're gonna freak out.
Yeah. Is he dead? They're all dead, man. They're all dead.
You don't know about the announced slate going forward. They're all dead to you.
They're all dead. So it was fun. So yeah. How's your weekend? Is yours as disappointing as mine's been?
Well, I did something new for the very first time. Was I roller skated for the first time ever in my life. Now, not to be confused with inline skating, like I grew up as a kid with rollerblades, as some people call them, and that's kind of what I preferred as a kid. And I think like back in the 90s, if you're a kid that was roller skating and not rollerblading, you weren't as cool. I think that was kind of the era where like, oh, you got to be on the blades, man. I remember there's like a Disney Channel original movie called Brink that like that was like that spoke to every kid's soul back in the 90s. I'm
pretty sure the Power Rangers movie started off with them rollerblading as well.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
So rollerblades were super hot back in the 90s, but that basically meant I never got a chance to ever learn how to roller skate, aka 4 wheels on each foot, a total of 8.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to a roller we went to a roller rink last night, and I'm not about to run out and buy like rollerblades for this one night of skating. So I was just like, I guess I'll just rent roller skates like everyone else in our party was doing. So I rent them out, and there's a learning curve there. You would think more wheels evenly distributed would be easier. You are wrong. It took me about 4 or 5 songs to get used to it, but they were pretty fun. It's more casual type of skating, like rollerblades. I feel like you have to actively fight gravity more, but like with roller skates, there's a lot more coasting. And man, there's some crazy kids in like the middle of the rink that were like doing like roller skate dancing, and I was like, oh my god, this is like flash dance or something going on. But yeah, it was fun though. I still had fun. So if you're ever looking for something fun to do on a weekend, go check out your like local roller skating rink. They usually have awesome concession stands with like that liquid cheese that I love, and get like a soft pretzel, dip that in there.
For
a good night.
To me, I associate like a bowling alley, like where you rent the shoes with roller skates for some reason, and I don't know why.
Well,
but did you have a roller skate key? Is the real question.
A roller skate key? What is that?
You don't know what a roller... Okay, so back when roller skates first came out, they had these metal things you had to turn in to tighten or loosen them so you could take them on or off, and this little metal key.
Oh, no, these were like lacing up.
So they laced on your stuff. Okay, great. Yeah.
Wow, I'd never heard of that before. That's crazy. But it's funny that you bring up bowling alley, because my wife and I were talking about like, oh, bowling alleys and roller rinks have like a similar like old man crossovers where you have like the same old people that show up. They know everybody that works there. They have their own equipment, and they're really good at doing it. And I was just like, this is so weird. Like, we should get the old man bowlers and the old man roller skaters together, and I think they'd be a good group of friends.
They probably are. There's probably you start roller skating during the day and go bowling at night. Or vice versa. One of the two. They've got this down. I don't know why we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, bowling on roller skates. I think that's the next evolution. But I think there's more pressing things to talk about, because this was an incredibly busy week where we didn't get a single Aquaman trailer.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Mike has tried to predict the Aquaman trailer very, very hard this week. He tried so hard last week. He got one thing right, almost right. We don't know if it's right, but someone else backed up his theory about Spider-Man Field Trip. But no Aquaman trailer. Instead, we got like every other trailer under the sun.
It almost felt like a slap in the face, but I just wanted to defend myself super quick. I pinpointed the 5th Tuesday last week as like the bullseye, but I gave a blanket 2-week window, so my 1 week is up. I still have another week to get on the dartboard.
You'll get half credit if you get next week. You'll get half credit, but I'm not feeling it, man. I'm feeling these trailers. Like, this was it. Like, if you were gonna release a trailer, this was the week to do it.
Yeah,
because Incredibles is this week. I'm watching Incredibles this week, and then Jurassic World 2 is the week after. So there's still a little bit of window. We'll see. But we're going to break down these trailers, or at least talk about them a little bit, because there was a lot. And I think the first and biggest one here that was really, really cool is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Ooh, oh my gosh. So without even going into all of the awesome like appearances that we got to see of new characters, we just get to see a lot more of the animation, which is just beautiful. They're doing some crazy stuff in this movie, like real experimental. I mean, talk about just like an animated Spider-Man movie, which honestly just kind of sells itself. Just because you put the word Spider-Man in front of it, you're going to be able to sell tickets and toys, and you're going to make your money back. You're going to sponsor like tangerines in the grocery store eventually, because that's usually what happens with these big superheroes. But they're doing this crazy thing where instead of like doing like depth of field or like blurring the background to make your characters pop, they're doing this weird like chroma effect where like if you've ever looked at a 3D image without the red and blue 3D glasses, you can kind of see the red and the blues shift away. It's just this really crazy thing that I think is really cool to throw into just your Spider-Man movie. And if you follow us on our Twitter account, I shared some like selected stills of the trailer that I thought really stood out. There's some really strong art direction going on here. Like, I honestly, this trailer could have been silent and I would have bought like 8 tickets already. So I'm just shocked that this is coming out of Sony, but I guess technically it's Sony Animation, which is has a little bit of better track record, I would say, with some of their movies. I'm not counting the Emoji Movie, but they were smart enough to hire Gengi Tartakovsky to do those Hotel Transylvania movies, which they're on their 3rd one, so they're making money there. But anyway, Chris, tell me about the nitty gritty, the little bits in the trailer that you like.
So what I'm going to point out is a couple things here. Also the art style. I love the art style. I love the way it looks. It's got that was that halftone effect on a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I just love it. This is set what looks like the Ultimate Universe, because he says it's a universe that looks just like yours, but it isn't. And of course we got Miles Morales, who's Spider-Man. We have the Ultimate Green Goblin, which I think you also pointed out in our text messages. He actually turns into a big goblin-like creature. He's not just a man in a mask, as well. And we also get to see more of Miles's parents, his dad specifically, who's kind of a dick in the comic books, and then this is like a different take on him. I think he's really funny in this.
Is his dad a cop in the comic books?
I don't think so.
I thought his dad was like a journalist or like a blue collar worker in the comics. So that might be a change.
Yeah, there's definitely some changes here. And since they don't have to follow the comic books at all, they can take some liberties introducing this to the world. There also appears to be several Spider-Man suits in what looks to be like a Tony Stark style Spider-Man like layer kind of going on there.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what was going on there. There was, speaking of like the Spider-Man in general, there was one moment that I think maybe has been brushed over, or at least I haven't seen people dive into it. Is obviously we see like a talking Peter Parker later in the trailer that's trying to teach Miles, but before we see that reveal, there's another Spider-Man with his mask on that talks to Miles that says like, "Oh, you're just like me," but his voice is totally different. It's a totally different like Peter Parker.
Well, I think you're forgetting the first trailer. The first trailer shows Miles at the gravestone of Peter Parker. So I think the first one, because for Miles to become Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe, the Peter Parker there has to die. I think he gets killed in that fight. Miles feels responsible. This other Spider-Man from another universe comes in, is like, we have something coming after us, we need to train you. And then this is where he goes and sees all these different Spider-Man suits. Because we also get, at the end, is Spider-Gwen, probably the biggest reveal. I had no idea she was going to be in there.
Yeah, and that was a big surprise because, if you read the Spider-Man comic, it's just like a one-off trade. I would recommend it. It's a fun read. But Peter Parker jumps into the Ultimate Universe through, I believe it's like some Mysterio tech that he's like stealing, or he's building some sort of portal. So that's just one Spider-Man coming over. Yeah, I don't know how Gwen Stacy gets thrown into the mix. I don't know if there's some sort of, what's her name, Madam Web. I don't know if she's at the works. We see Kingpin in the trailer, his silhouette, his big brooding silhouette. So I don't know if he's involved somehow, but there's a whole story here that needs to be unweaved.
Yeah, they don't give us a lot of story. They give us a lot of style and kind of design to it. And I forget who, Jake Johnson is the voice of the Spider-Man there.
We're a fan of Jake Johnson in this household because we like a New Girl on Fox that just wrapped up its series a few weeks ago.
And also the other villain is the Prowler in this as well, which is actually Miles' uncle in the comic books. He's in the big suit fighting in there, but just kind of going through everything. I mean, it's hard to say much, but the design is just fantastic, and
there seems to be a really hilarious moment that we get to see towards the end of the trailer that I really want to know the origins of, where we see Peter Parker is in sweatpants. So I don't know if he loses his pants at some point in time, or if he's just waking up.
I don't think that's Peter. I don't think that's Peter Parker. I think that's the Indian Spider-Man. There's one from India because it looks like his outfit.
Oh, you think with the sweatpants?
I don't think it's sweatpants. I think it's actually like the pants they wear over in India.
I would be shocked. And also, we get to see Miles in a Spider-Man Halloween costume. So there's just so much crazy goofiness going on, and yeah, I'm digging this movie. Everything about it. I'm so hyped.
Yeah. If you just do a quick search, I forget what his name is. The Spider-Man India. It'll show you the Spider-Man whose origins start in India, and he's got the pants on and stuff like that. So, it's the Spider-Verse comic book introduced like all these other Spider-Men and all these other worlds. Everyone wants to see him. I think we're gonna see Spider-Ham. I think we're going to get to see him. But also it's important to notice Miles has different powers than the regular Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. He goes invisible in one of the scenes in an alleyway. So,
and in the comic books, he has like a venom sting, so we'll probably see something along the lines of that. And we see, towards the end of the trailer, we see him starting to learn how to web sling, so I think he'll leave this movie at the end with that ability because, Spider-Man without web slinging, it's just not as cool, man.
Yeah, it's definitely it's going to be an adventure, and I'm really excited to see how this plays off. I know we were it's a whole 180 from where we initially were, probably closer to a 720. Really, we've gone around in circles, but
I think the best thing that they could do is, I don't know if they really need to bring them into the story, but I would love to see a reference to all of the other Sony Spider-Man live action movies, because if they're working around this story of the different universes with a bunch of different Spider-Mans in them, you'd have to assume like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is one and the Andrew Garfield, and if their costumes could somehow make cameos in the movie, that would be cherry on top of the sundae.
No, I definitely agree. I think there's a lot to play with this. We could even see the Homecoming suit and stuff like that in there. Iron Spider. I don't know. There's a lot we don't know. But also at the end, we were talking about this earlier. Spider-Gwen is voiced by Haley Steinfeld, Mike, who will be in another trailer we're talking about here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So the other probably the biggest trailer we thought we were going to have this week was Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2. I've still not seen the movie, Mike. My wife went out of town and I didn't get to watch it, but I did watch the trailer, and there is a lot going on in this one. In terms of reference dropping and like I don't know how to put it, but I did enjoy the last scene with Vanellope with all the princesses for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I think, the biggest takeaway from the trailer. A lot of the other stuff is almost kind of, I would say, a little hackneyed. Like, I think almost everybody always visualizes the internet as some, like, a big metropolitan, like, city, so that wasn't really that surprising. And, like, the fact that, like, each website is almost like its little different town. It just looks like a giant theme park, so that wasn't really that exciting. And then also the joke of the search engine just auto-correcting and autofilling is just like, okay, let's just move on to, like, dropping all the references that we get to see at Oh My Disney, which I didn't know was a website until they very specifically were walking up to it and it said Oh My Disney. I was like, this seems very specific to a website, so I googled that and I was like, oh, it does exist. The only thing that makes me a little nervous, I know it kind of seems like I'm being a little down on this movie, but we were worried that this is going to feel maybe a little bit like the Emoji Movie, where the Emoji Movie
I'm not part of that. That's you. Don't drag me into this.
Well, I'm not the only one. There's definitely other people out there that are worried about this, because the Emoji Movie was just kind of like just shelling out to any company that would want to give them money. Hey, do you want to be in this movie? You want your app to be in here? We can play Candy Crush, come on. We can do that in our movie. So Wreck-It Ralph doesn't seem to be doing that, which is good, except for the fact is they are totally shelling out everything for Disney. I mean, they walked into that Disney park and it was just like a park I would love to visit, but it almost felt like a little force down your throat. Like, look at all this Disney stuff in this Disney movie. You're going to love it. And then we're going to show you all these princesses. So as long as this is more just like a one-off moment in the story and then we get to move on to something else, I think it'll be great. But if the whole plot revolves around this Oh My Disney Park, I think it's going to be a little too heavy-handed, I think
you've nailed it on the head. We don't know the plot. They didn't tell you anything about the story. It says, hey, we're going to the internet. So I think this is literally like the beginning of it, like where they walk through on their way to do something. So
yeah, I will say I did like the last bit where they were talking about the title of the movie. Like, shouldn't it be called like Ralph Wrecks the Internet? It's like, well, breaks the internet. It's kind of a thing. And they're like, oh, well, I think that would be a better title. It's just like, well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Basically. And I was like, this is hilarious because that's the exact conversation that everybody was having about the movie when the title was released. So I'm glad that they're kind of having fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't literally we literally know nothing. I think the first teaser had Ralph, wasn't he feeding like a cat or some sort of animal, and then it exploded?
Oh yeah, that's right. I already forgot. And baby Moana was like horrifyingly watching it on her tablet.
Yeah, so there's a bunch that we don't know about this movie, and this was just to kind of show, hey, we can play around with literally any property, whether it's like an actual business or anything that's under the Disney umbrella. Because we got an Iron Man reference. Stormtroopers were chasing Vanellope at one point.
We saw X-Wings and TIE Fighters.
Yeah, and then they also made the princesses made probably the best reference to me. It's like, oh, did some big man, strong man show up and they think that he saved you from everything? She's like, yes, exactly. Which is pretty much every Disney princess movie out there so far. So
there was a similar moment to that in the Lego 2 trailer, which we're going to talk about here in a moment. Yeah. So that seems to be kind of the culture of Hollywood right now. Like, we're tired of shit.
Yeah, so Lego Movie 2 dropped a trailer. I couldn't read it off of the logo being red, white, and blue. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here. Still have no idea what's going on, but I think I figured it out. I think it's funny. It starts off in a Mad Max style world post the Craggle, and what's his name? I don't forget the Emmett is still like the same as ever. He did not change one bit. So, then we get to see it deals with space. Is the little heart thing like? Did it say hi right before it blew up and tried to kill him? Like,
yeah, it's adorable. Whatever it is, it's hilarious. I love it when they get like actual children to voice things. Like they do that in South Park sometimes with some of the younger characters. It just adds this extra layer of hilarity to it.
Yeah, and then they said this is the I think it's the sister system is what it's called. I think this has to deal with the end of the first one and the sister being able to play with stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was really confused because we get to see it's like extraterrestrial life. There's like an alien Lego. And when I first saw that alien Lego design, I was like, what is this? This is the ugliest minifigure I've ever seen. Like, are they making like a brand new Lego figure just so they can have an alien in this movie? And I was like super turned off by it. Like, my old school Lego sensibilities were shook until I went online and I Googled it, and apparently that style of figure of the longer arms and stuff, that's like a pre-existing Lego, like kind of for girls. Like, I think like all of the Disney princesses like get that type of figure style in some other play sets. You know, it's geared towards like you said, like the sister. So I was like, oh, okay, this makes a little bit more sense now. Now I don't have to freak out so much that they're trying to change my Legos for this movie. But yeah, I love the little sewer babies. All the jokes are there, everything. I'm interested to see what Batman's going to be like in this movie, because he had his own Lego movie where he kind of turned a new leaf. You know, he should be like a better person. So hopefully his new personality comes into this movie and they're like, wow, you're actually like a nice guy now. So that'd be funny.
Yeah, he didn't even reference this much, so I don't know how much they're going to reference that, but he also didn't get any, like maybe a little half a line in this one. So they're like, I don't know if they're leaning away from Batman, like trying to lead it or anything, because he had his own movie or what, but there is a shot at the end where we do get to see most of the original crew returning, which was definitely fun to see. So the new villain, actually, I just looked up, her name is Sweet Mayhem, and she's voiced by Stephanie Beatriz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, one of your favorite shows.
Yeah, good for her.
So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know anything about it, but I definitely... it looks like a return to form for the Lego movie. So
yeah, you know what? This movie comes out in February, and we got the trailer in June. So if we're getting an Aquaman movie in December, can I just get that trailer already? The Lego movie's like already 2 months ahead of you.
Yeah, but the Lego movie doesn't have anything to prove by putting out... It has to put out the right trailer for Aquaman, or they're going to lose everybody yet again.
Chris, get out.
Did you not watch Justice League? Come on. Nobody went. How to Train Your Dragon 3... the Hidden Valley of Dragons, or whatever it's called here, is got a new trailer as well. I have seen probably 1.5 of these movies.
Yeah, it's kind of. I hope this doesn't track how Kung Fu Panda tracks, which is another DreamWorks trilogy. The first Kung Fu Panda movie is good. The second one, I would say, is comparable, but I still think the first one had most of the magic in it. And then the third Kung Fu Panda is like on Netflix, and it's just not as good. I mean, there's like some cool stuff in there, but the story's just not as strong, and you just don't really care that much about the pandas anymore. So I'm hoping.
Did he have a family?
Yeah,
they went Shrek route. That Shrek sucks after that. Like that's you have a family, your movie sucked. That's what happens.
Yeah, exactly. But How to Train Your Dragon. When I saw the second one, I thought it was good, just not as good as the first one. So I'm curious to see what happens here. But they're doing some interesting things. They're making the character older. He has like a badass beard. He looks like Jim Halpert. He looks like John Krasinski from his beard era, which is like currently now. So he looks pretty badass there. My favorite part about this trailer is just the simple line of text that says like the end of the saga or something like that, which is awesome. I love that they're making the decision to be like, this is going to be the last movie. We're going to wrap everything up. There's not going to be some fourth lingering movie. We're not going to go the Toy Story route. This is the last film. So I like that because that just means
if it makes enough money, that won't mean anything.
Yeah, I know.
They've all done that.
But maybe if they want to continue the story, they'll just stick to their Netflix TV show, which I haven't seen.
Let's talk about the movie, not the line of text that means nothing in the end.
Hey, that means everything to me, buddy.
Well, most people who are watching this don't know how to read, so I think it's fine. So is this a dragon utopia now, and then someone wants to hunt the black dragon as always because it's out there is what I'm getting from this?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
And then it meets a white girl version, and it gets a girlfriend.
Yeah. It's like they're night furies and light furies, I guess. So we'll have to see what happens. But
and it goes like full Thor at the end with the lightning bolts and everything.
Yeah. Some of the visuals look pretty cool. So I'm not sure if this will be a movie I'll run out the theaters to go see, but I'll catch it at some point in time. I want to see how the trilogy ends.
When is it come out? It just says coming soon. It doesn't have a date on here. That's weird. I think it's fine. I mean, I forget this one's from DreamWorks even at all because of how good it looks and how like they've maintained not like every year we have to put out a new How to Train Your Dragon, how they kind of pace themselves a little bit. So that's okay with me. Do you like the first one you said?
Yeah, the first one's solid.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I will definitely have to come back on that one. That was the trailer that came out this week. Bumblebee got a trailer, and I gotta say, of all the Transformers movies, we're on set 6 now, right? This is 6 we talked about. This one looks probably the best of the 6. Right
which is so
because I think
it's so funny.
There's a lot of parallels between this one and the very first Transformers movie, which a lot of people hold as the best movie in the franchise. Yeah. And I think that's a lot to behold because it doesn't have the same writer and it doesn't have the same director. So we talked about this. I forget, is it who is directing? It's the person who did Kubo and the Two Strings and Coraline, Travis Knight. So I think that's got a lot of pull behind it, Mike. I mean, you're a big animated stop motion guy. Did you like those movies, right?
Yeah, and this trailer was really, it's kind of bizarre because this is a prequel movie. It's supposed to be like how everything started. So if you watch the trailer in the frame of mind of, let's say we live in a world where no Transformer movie has ever been made and this is the first time we've ever seen a Transformer on screen, it kind of is a different experience. It almost kind of makes you wish that you could kind of go back and replace all of them and start fresh because like they just decided to can that 7th Transformers movie, and I know there's a bunch of shakeups going on at Hasbro and they're buying new like properties, and I think they're going to just like revamp and re-kickstart this whole Transformers universe. And it kind of seems sad now that the Bumblebee movie is going to be the last vestige of this franchise because this almost looks like a better jumping off point. Like the trailer seems like emotional. It's not just action packed and loud. They sized Bumblebee down so he's a little bit more practical, like on camera. He's not just giant towering and looming over humans.
And he's got his original look to him as well. He's actually in the Volkswagen Bug, and when he transforms, he looks like the cartoon version for once. He doesn't like. There's not so many moving parts and sharp edges, and he's got to be a cool Camaro. He looks like the version you'd see in the '80s cartoon for sure.
Yeah, and it looks like at some point later in the trailer, I think I don't know if he has to learn how to jump into other cars, but I think it looks like there's like a Jeep grill on the front of him that's yellow. So I think at some point in time he jumps into a Jeep. So This will be very interesting to see a Transformers movie where Michael Bay isn't directing, written by different people. So
got John Cena, in it, Mike's favorite actor.
Yeah, that's true. So my interest is definitely piqued. So I never would have expected that from the Bumblebee trailer. I think I remember clicking on this trailer and I was like, oh god, here we go. And then when it was over and I was like, wow, all right. Yeah. So I think I'm on board.
I think the other thing is the villain looks to be Starscream, who is a classic Gen 1 villain as well, with his classic colors, not that weird starfish shape he had in the first. I just don't like the designs of those, at all.
I love Starscream's voice, so I hope it's still the same voice.
Yeah. So he looks to be the villain. It looks to be less Transformers, more story, and that's whenever I think we hit the sweet spot. If they don't tie into the future movies, they may be able to spin this into a new franchise, Mike. This may be it could be a jumping off point.
Hey, there you go.
They'd be like, well, we don't have to say tied to the other ones. This is a new one, so
yeah, screw you.
And we got Rickrolled at the end, right there.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, the 80s, man, crazy time. Right before this, I told you to watch Bad Times at the El Royale trailer, Mike. Written and directed by Drew Goddard, who did Daredevil season 1. Some of the Defenders. He's working on X-Force, and it's got Chris Hemsworth in it. What do you think of this movie, Mike? This is an interesting film.
Well, it was interesting because when I was watching it, and I was like, why is Chris telling me to watch this? There's no superheroes in this. And as soon as it was over, I asked you, is this based on a graphic novel? And you're just like, no, it's just an original movie. And I was like, oh. It's like, well, it looks awesome. So then we tried to figure out a back way to make it make sense in the show, and I was like, well, hey, Chris Hemsworth in there. You found the other what did you just say the director's name was?
Drew Goddard.
Drew Goddard.
And
that's
got
right.
Obadiah Stane from the first Iron Man movie. If you
yeah, there you go. So you got lots of superhero creator elements in this, so it looks really cool. It looks crazy. I kind of had a slight Tarantino-esque vibe to the movie. Yeah, the cinematography looks great, but yeah, you don't hear us talk about that a lot on this show about cinematography, but yeah this looks cool.
Like an actual movie kind of going on here.
Yeah.
So this El Royale, it looks like half in one state, half in another. So you get to pick which state you stay in based on the room you choose. And there's some sort of conspiracy going down. It looks highly. I think Chris Hemsworth, they said, is a cult leader, and that's why he's there. So
he's got charisma. He's got the looks.
Yeah, and he's got a dark hair and a mustache going on. Because what can you argue with him when he's got a mustache on?
Nah, mustaches are coming back, man. John Hamm's in the movie. I love John Hamm. This is gonna be. I think this will be fun. Yeah. We probably won't be doing a spoiler cast on this movie because it doesn't really fit. But
I think it's a movie that maybe if you didn't know the trailers out there, you probably go see it on your own. So
yeah, every once in a while, like I would say, a quote unquote real movie sneaks into the superhero slate.
Yeah, that's what I like. And lastly, the trailer that I probably had the most questions about going in and still after is the Mortal Engines trailer.
Ooh, I don't think this is a good trailer, Chris.
You don't like it? Why don't you like it?
So I think the idea and concept of the movie was really buzzing around in my brain when I saw the first teaser trailer. You know, you got these giant mega cities running around on giant treads, gobbling up other cities. But then this trailer kind of just gave me a really strong teen dystopian novel feeling.
That's what it's based on.
Yeah, I know it's based off a series of books, but I was kind of hoping as a society and Hollywood had decided to kind of move past those stories. So I was like, well, if they're making this story, maybe they can jazz it up and make it a little bit more serious. But then when I was just kind of seeing the struggle between the lowly poor people and the bad guy from the Matrix, I was just kind of like, I don't know. So the visuals still look kind of Peter Jackson-esque cool. He likes to go heavy CG, but sometimes they can really work. There's some cool big sweeping landscapes with some flying planes that looked kind of cool, but I don't think this didn't warm up my kettle, I would say. I'm still a little lukewarm over here.
I am probably more intrigued now knowing I did not know Hugo Weaving was involved, and he's always so I wouldn't say charismatic, but he's enthralled. You can't not watch him when he's on the screen.
Yeah, that's true.
Matrix or Red Skull, but also to choose purposely to have the main actress have a huge scar across her face for the whole movie. In terms of Hollywood, you sell it based on faces, right? She's got a scar across her face. That's a bold move for a movie to do.
Well, it was kind of a weird reveal because I'm sure that means something to people that have read the books. But when they pulled her bandana off and like everybody gasped because she had the scar on her face, I was just like, I don't know what that means. I don't care if she has a scar on her face. So it was kind of a weird reveal to kind of drop in the trailer. But I guess people that read the books probably understand.
I would say it's more of a like you're gonna recognize if you see this person in the store, Mike, and you see him again a couple of weeks later, you're gonna remember that person. So she's probably some sort of.
Am I grocery shopping with this person now?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like it's memorable. It's not like like it means something. It's probably like this person has been causing trouble for the London on Wheels for a very long time. But I don't know. I'm more interested now than I was before. My wife has read the book and she really liked it, and we can't find the other ones like in a bookstore because they didn't think that this would be made into a movie. So we're trying to find those, but I think it's I'm more warmed up to it than you are now because I was like I'm like I hope it's not just fucking battle bots with cities running around the world eating each other. So
well, it's good. It's good when we don't agree on things.
Yeah. But that's our trailer rundown. Like that's the majority of the show here. Just kidding. We've got notes to go through, Mike. We've got news. Are you ready to go through the news?
Yeah, let's burn them and turn them.
Burn them and turn them. Avengers: Infinity War. We don't talk about it a lot right now, but it got an extra 30-day release in China, which is extremely rare. Hardly any movies ever get these extra 30 days in China, and Infinity War was able to secure it, putting it at right now $1.998 billion at the box office. It will hit $2 billion in 48 hours, guaranteed.
Ooh, 48 hours. I feel like we got a ticking clock. This is exciting.
Yeah, so we're going to have that $2 billion release before this thing leaves the theaters, and probably some more numbers when it goes on sale.
Yeah,
and
once it breaks that 2 billion mark, it's got to make just 68 million more, and then it can top Force Awakens and take the third spot.
Well, let's go. Let's go again, Mike. We're gonna re-roll. I think that might get some more money whenever they start doing double Avengers showings next year. Like, hey, watch Avengers 3 before you go watch Avengers 4.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They can just keep cranking those numbers up.
Yep. So there's an opportunity here to get more money out of this. So we'll keep you posted. But speaking of Avengers 4, I think this is my favorite news here. Some leaked concept art of the upcoming team has been online, and this is exactly how the Avengers 3 team was revealed. Same art style, same leak. And I think there's some interesting notes here, Mike, to take.
Yeah, why is Hulk in pajamas? I think that's the biggest.
That's not everything is pajamas. Is everything pajamas to you today?
Well, the funny thing is I saw some people online like theorizing like, oh, maybe this is what the Hulk has to wear in order for Bruce to transform into blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, I don't think clothes is going to have anything to do with it. I think if he's probably just in it maybe for some sort of like, I don't know, protection from outer space.
If you look at him, it's got more of a Banner face than a normal Hulk face. He may be half and half. He may have found the passive medium between them.
Yeah, I've been hearing maybe kind of like a Professor Hulk going in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, this kind of looks more like a flight suit type of thing. I don't think this is just how the Hulk looks now.
There was a comic series where he had one that like it regulated his vitals for like a team to be like, hey, you know, we need to bring you back down a little bit, but I don't think that's it at all either. So I agree with you. We get to see Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, back there powering up. I think War Machine has also buffed up his armor quite a bit.
Yeah, he's been stacked.
He is now a floating tank. We get our first looks at Ant-Man and Hawkeye here, which is cool because that's Hawkeye's hair. Have you heard all the news about Jeremy Renner breaking his arms 3 days into making the movie Tag? And most of his
I had no
arms
idea.
are like the arm movements that are CGI'd on him in the movie.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I gotta go see this movie now. This is like extra level mustache CGI here.
Yeah. So if Tag pulls it off better than Justice League did, I will be horribly disappointed.
They are still doing their best to hide that Ronin armor. I mean, it looks like he's a little bit more tactical. You know, I can see some more like padding on him, but they have still not shown him all Ronin'd out yet.
Yeah, the gold seems to be hiding very well.
Yeah, but I mean, I have accidentally come across some set photos where they show like maybe part of his arm coming out of like a sleeve, and you can kind of see some gold. So we're going to see that at some point in time. I would be happy if Tony Stark didn't make Ronin's armor. I would love to see this tech come from somewhere else. Maybe Wakanda would be cool, or maybe just S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, hey, S.H.I.E.L.D. is still like a thing. Like, they're still like an organization. It would be cool if they had the tech and they made it for Hawkeye since he's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know?
Do you think his armor is powered?
I don't know.
Ronin armor is just a costume. It's just a It's not powered at all. It's actually just a suit to hide whoever's in it.
Well, I feel like there's got to be some power associated with it, or to be just kind of weird if Hawkeye decided to just play dress up for this one final mission where he might save the planet.
Well, I think he's doing it because he's supposed to be on house arrest.
Oh, so you think that's how he sneaks
because
out?
that's in the comic books. Like multiple people who've worn, like he wore the Ronin armor to show that to hide that he wasn't dead, or like still alive for a long time. So they used to hide their identities.
Something tells me house arrest is not going to be the top priority for most law enforcement agencies out there with half of the planet dead.
Yeah.
So I'd be really curious to see if that even matters.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It's definitely Ronin's like for people listening. The comic books, Ronin's armor has never been powered. It's just a costume. Cap is beardless again, and Black Widow's back to her red hair. By the way, speaking of different looks as well. Do you think he'll have time to clean up between 3 and 4?
Well, he looks like he cleans up his star a little bit. I was just kind of excited to see that we actually got a look at Avengers 4 already. It's always exciting, to see what's coming out with the next movie, especially since we're still kind of riding the high of all the money coming out of the one that's already in theaters.
And no title. No title. How are they doing this to us, Mike?
Man, come on.
Man, trailer should be in October, so hopefully we have a title by then.
Cross your fingers for Ant-Man, man.
Nah, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. But before Ant-Man, we actually get to enjoy Luke Cage Season 2, believe it or not, on Netflix.
That's right. The
Season 2 titles have been revealed. The first season had titles taken from one single artist, but they've taken it from 2 different artists this time, called Pete Rock and CL Smooth. So you can go through and see the first one's called Soul Brother Number 1, and the last one's called They Reminisce Over You. So I don't know any of these songs, but we'll...
Sounds like someone might be dying in that last episode.
Something's gonna happen, but that's coming up on June 22nd, Mike. We are less than 2 weeks away. So
yeah, that's fast approaching. Yeah. So we will do our best to watch it as fast as we can so we can review it.
Yes.
No guarantees for the first weekend, as we always say with these Netflix shows, but if somehow we can cram it in there between Jurassic World and who knows, maybe Chris will go see The Incredibles 2 twice in 2 weekends.
Maybe. Well, that one.
And also, it's like summertime. Every once in a while, we need to see the sun just so we don't die of vitamin D deficiency.
It's true. It's very true. So June 22nd on Netflix. You can check it out. But we're also going to talk a little bit about some Marvel Studios stuff here. Kevin Feige's been out of his Feige hole, as we call it, this week. His favorite film so far is Black Panther. And he talked more about why the production aspect made that his favorite movie. Like, where he sat at a table full of people who didn't look like him. They weren't, male white people making decisions on this movie. And whenever he was done, he was like, we did it. We were able to make this movie and prove that we could do, black superheroes again without ruining everything. So
I think the best common thread for Marvel movies is if Bucky's in your movie, it's usually a good movie. So I noticed that when I was just stuck in traffic the other week. I was thinking, like, all the Marvel movies I like have Bucky in them. Maybe I just really like Bucky. So
yeah, well, who could go wrong with that? It works out so far, so we'll see. But also, Kevin Feige has met with Jay Chandrasekhar, who plays Thorny in the Super Troopers movie, Officer Thorne, in about a future project.
Who wants to take a mustache ride?
Yeah, exactly. So if you know Super Troopers, now does that mean he's doing a big movie? No, Feige's met with a bunch of people. They're diversifying.
So are you saying okay, directors? I was like, who is he gonna play in these movies?
Yeah, as a director, they met him about future.
That's
projects.
cool.
And it's not.
I'd like to see his perspective on a superhero.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of options in the future, and they're not gonna. They've not always pulled from the biggest names, and that's worked out really well for them. So, is that working out well for Star Wars? No, but Marvel's doing it. I don't know how, but it is. But I don't know. It's not the whole Broken Lizard team, so it wouldn't be the Super Troopers of Marvel. But I don't know what he would do. I have no idea where he would start, man.
The Super Troopers of Marvel is just the Guardians of the Galaxy, so we already got that.
It's true. I would probably put them in Great Lakes Avengers. Yeah, let's put them in charge of the Great Lakes Avengers.
Oh man, if we got a Great Lakes Avengers movie with like a $150 million budget, I'd love that.
Yeah, I'd take it for a $50 million budget even, just to see it out there, man. Cut them some slack. Put 3 $50 million movies in play right now. Let's do that. But in terms of Netflix, Jeff Loeb went and did an AMA on Reddit this week. Jeff Loeb's the president of Marvel TV. He said Marvel TV shows won't deal with the Infinity War fallout simply because of the production schedules and everything. So for us to expect Luke Cage to be like, what's going on with Infinity War? We don't know when they take place because it wouldn't line up. It'd be very frustrating to hear them talk about Infinity War and Luke Cage and be like, we don't even know how this is going to wrap up. So that's okay with me. Defenders Season 2 is currently not in their plans, like we talked about at the top of the show. I'm okay with this. Are you okay with this?
Man, I'm starting to get the feeling that our Marvel buddies at Netflix, these shows, I think, are sadly going to peter out. So far, the quality has been good for the most part for these other seasons, but at some point in time, you're only going to be able to ream so many seasons out of these characters, and it's still going to make sense because they're not going to be able to grab a lot of these new characters from the universe because Disney's kind of walling them off. So honestly, as much as I love them, I would love them to go no more than maybe 3 or 4 seasons for each character. I guess I don't necessarily need another season of the Defenders. It would be kind of a nice way to wrap it up. But yeah, at some point in time, these aren't going to be 7-8 season shows. I don't think that's ever going to happen. So I think they need to creatively find a way to tell this story that they want to tell for these characters. So it doesn't seem like that's quite coalesced yet, but I guess we'll find out with more seasons.
I guess the thing is, I don't think they're looking at it as the MCU looks at it. The MCU looks at it as what we talked about, a TV show in and of itself, where they're building towards a season finale for that. And I don't think the TV shows really are looking to do that as well. And the way the episodes work, I'm okay with that because even the Defenders felt weird watching it. Like it didn't sit well with me. I don't know, but last year was a weird year for Marvel television all around, with Iron Fist, Defenders, and Inhumans all just messing up right up there in like a 3-month period. So
I know we're supposed to be getting this in this season of Luke Cage where we're supposed to see Iron Fist pop up, but these characters need to start crossing over like a lot more. I know that they have production issues, but they're all shooting in New York, and like it's kind of weird me watching these characters and just like, why don't they just get on the phone and call somebody up for some help? I would love to just see that happen because we see that in comic books all the time because it's really easy to do because all you have to do is draw the character. You don't have to like cast them and bring them in and pay them. So, but we've seen that in kind of the second phase and third phase of Marvel movies where they just go ahead and they start crossing over and they're having fun and interacting because that's how you make a universe. So if they want Netflix to feel more like a universe, Jessica Jones Season 2, maybe it wouldn't have been a bad idea if somebody showed up for an episode or two to give a little bit of help. So maybe we'll get more of that in the future. That's what I'd like to see. We've gotten a little bit of it.
Jessica Jones would have been the first chance where they would have had a chance to do that, though. And she never liked working with anybody anyway. So that one's okay. I think Luke Cage will be the first opportunity where they can try this out and see how it works.
Yeah. Let's see it. Make it happen, Netflix.
Yeah. And then apparently Iron Fist Season 2 is on the cards for this year. I thought it would be next year. I thought we'd get Daredevil first. But
oh, wow.
We might wrap the end of the year up with Iron Fist and then maybe kick off next year with Daredevil in the spring. Because Daredevil's always been a spring show. So
that's true.
So that's okay with me. We'll also probably get the Iron Fist, the full costume in Season 2 as well.
Yeah.
So if we forget,
well, and it doesn't. I know we need to move on, but it does make sense because Iron Fist is supposed to take up the Daredevil mantle while he's recovering. So it would make sense we'd get the Iron Fist show first, and then Daredevil would come back into the fold.
Yeah, I would like to see that. Yeah, I would much rather see him deal with the fallout of no Daredevil, and then Daredevil be there, and then dealing with the fallout of no Daredevil. So I agree. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Disney news, John Lasseter will leave the company at the end of this year after his self-imposed sabbatical, I guess.
There's two ways to write that headline because I saw it both this week, where some would say John Lasseter is shockingly returning for a couple of months, and then once you read the article, it says he's leaving, and then the ones like you just read where it says, oh, he's leaving at the end of the month. He never should be coming back at all. Like the things that you read about this guy is just so. It's unsettling, and it's like not a good work environment. It's gonna be awkward as hell when he walks back into the office after all that.
He's only coming back as a consultant. He's not working directly on any project anymore. So he's not going back in. They'll probably just call him and be like, "Hey, we need you to check off on this before you go because you're still a producer or whatever. And then check.
And I just really hated his non-apologetic statement that he released about his basic quote-unquote retirement from Pixar. It was something along the lines of like, oh, I've done a lot of really great things in animation while I've been at Pixar, for the last so-and-so years. So it's sad to see it go, but I want to move on to new projects and, take time and work on myself. And I was just like, shut up, dude. You're like touching women all up in Pixar and throwing your authority around. Just get out of the picture, get out of the limelight. So I'm glad at least he's leaving for good, but Pixar should have just straight up fired him. But maybe there's a weird legal reason that they can't, because he's kind of,
I don't know if he was ever charged or accused of anything in there. That's like why they probably didn't fire him. Like, nobody said anything, we can't fire him yet. But I have no idea. I actually have no idea what they said, what was going on. I just know that if Disney really had an issue with him, they'd have got rid of him. Like, there's probably something going. I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, speaking of Pixar, Kingdom Hearts 3 has a release date of January 29th, 2019, Mike. I know you're excited for this. I don't quite understand these games yet.
The people that play them don't quite understand them.
Yeah, I was trying to, while E3 was going on, I was trying to figure out why these are cool, but there's a lot going on with these monsters. Ink World, there's a Rapunzel world from Tangled, all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So Toy Story World, so a lot of, I think Ratatouille is in it as well, controlling the character by pulling on his hair. So there's a lot going on in there, and I think that's cool for people who like Disney and stuff like that. A Star Wars game was announced yesterday at the EA thing called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Mike. And this sounds like it might be right up your alley in terms of games.
Okay.
It's from Respawn, who does the Titanfall games, which I really enjoy Titanfall.
Okay. I'm familiar. I've seen like the trailers and stuff for that.
This is set between episodes 3 and 4, so right after Order 66. And you'll be playing as a Jedi or Jedi Padawan, one of the two, and you will have a lightsaber. So you get your lightsaber battle, and it's
there you go.
It's a third-person action adventure. It's not a shoot 'em up, so you're good to go on there.
Isn't that like the Force Unleashed games?
Kind of, but I don't think it's that intense. I think it's more of you're dealing with, I would say probably more like a Tomb Raider style game or an Uncharted.
Gotcha. All right.
And it's released holiday 2019, so we'll have more information about this over the next year and a half. I'm still waiting. Square Enix E3. I got to figure out when that is. That's the Avengers. The company's making the Avengers game. And it's supposed to be somewhere. I don't know where. I don't have it here, but I'm really hoping Monday. Yeah, Monday at 1 p.m. my time to see the Avengers game. So we'll talk about that next week. Marv Studios. Are you familiar with Marv Studios? Not Marvel, Marv Studios. They're Matthew Vaughn directed movies, and he's got movies in the works for Kick-Ass, for Hit Girl, and to wrap up the Kingsman trilogy with the third movie.
Oh, well, that's a lot of mixed feelings right there, Chris.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why, but.
Well, is this a third Kick-Ass movie, or are they like?
So it would be a new one. There's a new Kick-Ass with someone else who's wearing the identity in the comic books now. So I think it's a new one of those. I think it's with that. They didn't say, but they said properties include Kick-Ass, Hit Girl, and then the third Kingsman trilogy. So to wrap up that third movie.
I mean, I'm pretty much over Kingsman. I feel like I was too burned on that last movie, so I don't know. Maybe he can right the ship for the third one, but he had total creative control, I felt like, over the last one, so I don't know if that's going to fix a third one for me personally. But I think maybe Hit Girl is a little bit more exciting to me because she was my favorite part of the first Kick-Ass movie. I never got around to seeing the second Kick-Ass, but I did read the second Kick-Ass graphic novel or comic book, however you want to say, and heard a lot of people say it did not live up to the comic book. So I don't know what's going on there, but it's not hard to get comic book stuff greenlit in this town, so I'm not too surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the other way. I love the Kingsman second one. I'm really excited to see that. And in that regards as well, there is a 8-hour TV show that's coming out called Kingsman: The Great Game. It's a spin-off show. I don't think it'll follow the characters from the movies. So that's in the works. And then also a Statesman film, a spin-off film from the Statesman. So these are we have no release dates. We don't know what's going on. Who's directing? Matthew Vaughn's not necessarily writing or directing all of these. He's just helping produce them. So with his studio.
All right, and I would assume all of these movies before came out of Fox, right?
20th Century Fox, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we'll just have to stay tuned. Start following Fox on Twitter, see what goes on after they get bought by Disney.
Yeah, or I mean, Fox was just the distribution. I think Marv Studios is the production company, so they can find a different distributor, and no problem.
Gotcha.
DC Universe, like we talked about at the top of the show, could launch as soon as August, according to one of their community managers.
Ooh, bring it on.
And that would include TV shows, digital movies, digital comics, and more from the DC Universe. So it sounds like they're making it a big platform of more than just TV and movies.
Well, I feel like we saw that first set photo of Titans a while ago, so it feels like that first episode should be ripping and ready to go. And they would launch this with new series ready to go and start watching. So, I would think the premiere date would have kind of aligned with the TV production schedule of that show. So August, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I would also think that if they do it at SDCC. They wrap up the show filming over the summer, release one a week on the DC Universe streaming system. They'd be good to go. Like that would put them into the fall for something else to be done. But you may also get Young Justice Outsiders at that time as well. So
yes, please.
I think they might alternate. That way they don't give you all their good stuff at once and then get burnt out on it. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out. But also Diane Nelson is no longer the DC Entertainment president at WB. So they've she left a couple months ago, and they're like, "Oh, she's gonna come back," and then she's not. She's gone. So they may be looking for a new president, or they've already filled it, and we just don't know yet. So
more shakeups over there at DC. That's not a bad thing in my opinion.
They got rid of her. she left right after the Justice League, like in the middle of the Justice League stuff. So we'll see how that plays out. You still watch The Flash or no?
Yeah, still watching The Flash. Still watching.
Okay, Kid Flash. Wally. Is it Wally West? No.
Wally West.
Is it really? Okay, yeah. Well, he's not gonna return as a series regular for any of the shows, The Flash or Legends of Tomorrow.
Wow, none of the shows.
He could be in there as like a guest star, but not a regular.
I wonder if he's gonna try to jump into movie acting, because he was in a film this summer, Love, Simon, which was also a Berlanti kind of joint. So yeah, maybe he's just fall in love with the big screen.
It was his choice, so I think you may be onto something there. So,
but if you are a regular watcher of The Flash, I won't spoil anything quite yet, because I think you can still watch the latest season on Netflix right now. But we are adding a speedster to the next season, so I guess there can only be so many fast-moving things on a screen at once. So
yeah, we've only got so many different colored lightning bolts we can give you. Don't go over the allotted colors here. So
yeah, we're going after lightsaber colors here. We can't. There's only so many colors in the spectrum. So
that's right. We got 3: red, green, and blue. That's it. No more.
Yeah, and we're doing black lightning on another show. I don't even know how that works. You can't even see black. That's not even light.
I mean, I wouldn't put a black light under anything I own. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Look like a Jackson Pollock painting. That's Guardians reference.
Is this what happens when we cross the hour mark of recording on this show? This is territory we usually don't.
We are not. We are actually not an hour in yet, Mike. We are like 3 minutes away from an hour. So.
Oh well, I can start to feel it. Yeah. I can start to see it coming out of
you. The trailers took a lot out of us.
Why am I saying this? Oh my god.
Titans, Mike. We were just talking about this. We'll have the bat signal, so it will exist in Gotham and all that stuff. There were some set photos showing the bat signal. You know what it looks like. We all know what a bat signal looks like.
Good. Give us our Batman show already.
And then Jason Todd, who played Robin and later the Red Hood, is to appear in the show as well, in an unknown capacity. I don't think he's the villain, because he's cast around the same age as all these other teen Titans, young adult Titans. But it's interesting that to have multiple Robins going on at once in the show. Oh.
I'm ready to watch this show. I have a feeling I like what you said about San Diego Comic-Con. Since Marvel's not going to be there this summer, DC will be there in full force. They should announce a streaming app and drop trailers for all of these shows that they have, and even teaser trailers as much as you can. Like if you have even like the glimpse of what Swamp Thing might look like, put a Swamp Thing trailer out there. I'm ready to watch this show, man.
Yeah, get them hyped and start selling those. Was it pre-register to be notified when this goes live kind of thing?
Yeah. So put me on your mailing list, fools.
Get Mike on your mailing list. But now we're going to delve into some Batman movie rumors.
Ooh, all right.
So apparently the Batman will not be a prequel. It will, like we talked about the other week, they want to continue forward with these movies.
Press on.
Ben Affleck may still be out. They may look for a younger, more agile person instead of Ben Affleck. Jake Gyllenhaal was in the talks, but with him being Mysterio, I'm pretty sure he's out the gate. So they'd have to.
I think he made the right superhero choice there.
Yeah,
right camp.
At least we know his movie's getting made. We don't have to worry about is this or will it or won't it. Concept art of the Two-Face, the Penguin, the Riddler, and Victor Zsasz has been made for this. Not seen, but just made.
Victor Zsasz, who's that?
I believe he was played by was it B.D. Wong in the Gotham show? He's like a psychiatrist. And he convinces people to, he cuts things into him. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. We got to look this up now. We got to do a Google.
Yeah, both visual. Yeah, I guess he looks like a Batman villain that I'm just not familiar with.
Yeah. So he carves a tally mark into himself for each of his victims. He's a serial killer, but I'm pretty sure he was also like a psychiatrist in some of those. If I go down, if I try to find in Gotham, yep, right here. I don't know. No, Anthony Kerrigan. B.D. Wong was somebody else. So apparently he's a serial killer. So that's all right. I would like to see a Penguin and a Riddler in the movie. What about you? Of these four, which would you choose two? Bang, marry, kill.
I'm always down to see how these characters get adapted to the screen. I want to see the Riddler. Yeah. We've only ever had a chance to see him as just like a goofy Jim Carrey, but I feel like he is the most ripe for a really compelling story because he's just doing all of this crazy stuff. I always think of like Die Hard 3 with Samuel L. Jackson, and they're in the city running around trying to solve these clues so stuff doesn't blow up. Like, I would like to see something that on an even bigger scale with a Batman movie. That'd be cool.
I would love a detective Batman movie, and the Riddler would be the perfect chance to be a detective to solve all these riddles. Mm-hmm. In Batman Forever, we had Jim Carrey being the Riddler, who was just doing a version of the Joker, and Tommy Lee Jones playing Two-Face, who was doing his version of the Joker. Like, they were all just both sides of a Joker coin. It was really bad, but I would like to see the Riddler get some comeuppance. And also, the last rumor is a female Robin would be in this movie, Mike. Much like The Dark Knight Rises, would you want to see... I mean, we've already established in this universe a lot of Robins have been killed. There's a Nightwing somewhere, probably. Would you want to see a female Robin?
It's just so funny. There's been so many adaptations of Batman over the years that it's like they just got so many Robins to pick from. Like, oh, what Robin do we want to use this movie? Like, oh, let me check the list. All right, we've made it to female Robin. All right, put her in the movie. Yeah. It's the perfect time. So, yeah.
Well, I think Snyder
they die a lot. They die a lot, or they graduate onto different roles.
Well, I mean, Snyder set the rules for this universe being like 20 years after all the Robins anyway. So he's like, well, what do we have left? We can't go get Dick Grayson as Robin again. So it's
just have the Flash run back in time and bring him to the future.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy. Suicide Squad 2 is also tied into these notes, Mike, from Batman. Apparently, you may be boo, but they're not going to recast the characters, but they're like, you know what? No one liked the first one. We're going to make them look like their comic book versions this time around instead.
All right.
And I was like, I guess Harley Quinn was probably the closest. Maybe Deadshot was the second. I don't know. I don't remember who else was in there.
I mean, Killer Croc looked cool. I mean, he was the reason they won the Academy Award, which is still shocking for me to say.
Would you like to see a bigger Killer Croc, more like the comic book version, where he's like way bigger than Batman, not just a person with crocodile skin?
That would be cool, and I think there's a way you could explain it. Like, you could say, like, Killer Croc's, he's been in captivity, he's been in this jail cell for so long, he's kind of atrophied, and now that he's out and we've given him time in the yard to, like, pump up, like, yeah, I could see him being huge and big. That'd be cool.
Or he's just continually evolving into a crocodile.
Yeah, who knows?
But if they can make the Hulk work in a movie, they can make Killer Croc work in a movie. Like, they just got to commit to it, you know what I'm saying? But in news you would like, they're going to redo the Joker and not give him the damage tattoo. They're going to take away all his tattoos, but leave the teeth because his teeth were knocked out by Batman, which I think is actually really cool.
Yeah, I guess he's got to go get some laser. That's got to be some weird... Do you think he just kidnaps somebody that's really good at laser removal and he's just like, I'll let you go as soon as the last tattoo's gone?
I don't care. I mean, as long as he looks okay in the movie, I don't care how he got from the first one to this one. They don't care about continuity over there anyway. So
maybe they were just all henna tattoos, and we just no one ever told us.
Yeah. They're henna tattoos. No, he's got the ones from the zebra striped gum. He's just putting them on his head, applying a cold washcloth, and then peeling them off.
There you go. The Joker's just a man. He's going through phases in his life. We just got the tattoo phase, unfortunately, for his first appearance in this new universe.
And this will also be written by Todd Stashwick, who works on Gotham, and the director Gavin O'Connor. So they're working on the script to do this and work forward and be more faithful to this movie rather than sticking with what they had. So,
all right. Well, good luck, Gotham guys.
I think that's a step in the right direction if we had to take a step in any direction at all. The Jared Leto Joker, however, may be getting his own movie, and I don't know why. And this is all I have from Variety. Jared Leto would be kind of producing it and starring in it, of course, and then it would still be the other Joker movie that's talked about to be in works. And I don't just give us a release. Give us a release date, a slate, official release slate, so we know what's going on. But
Warner Brothers needs to either just stop letting this stuff leak because we keep getting confused, or they just need to pull a Marvel and just walk up on a big stage, aka Comic-Con, throw up a bunch of logos and dates, and just let us know when these movies are coming out, who are the directors attached, and just give us a commitment that you're going to make these movies.
Yeah, I mean, like, is this true or is this not true? Are you really going to work on this or are you not going to work on this? Because the only Marvel movie we know that's being worked on outside of announcements is The Eternals. And even Feige was like, yeah, that's in our wheelhouse somewhere. And other than that, like any DC movie except for Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and maybe The Flash, we know are getting worked on. So
yeah.
Shazam. Shazam is also there. Anyway, and lastly, Game of Thrones. It's wrapping up next year, Mike. We are ever closer. Are you doing the South Park version?
No, just setting the tone,
okay.
Man.
The prequel show for Game of Thrones, of course, they want to wrap. They want to get this started so it launches probably next year as well. Will be set thousands of years before the first show.
Whoa!
Back when like the Green Tree Girls and the White Walkers and stuff were still roamed the world. The show will be done. The showrunner's Jane Goldsman, who's worked on the first Kingsman movie, First Class, and Kick-Ass, and working with what's his face, George R.R. Martin, to make sure the story is within the universe he has written. So.
Sounds like the show is going to be very expensive, because when I think about the past of Game of Thrones, you got dragons, you got magic, you got all this stuff that was basically lore, and kind of Game of Thrones is almost achievable on a series scale, because once you go thousands of years to the present time where we are now, you get a lot more humans just doing human things with swords, cheap things like that. So
horses and swords, just line them up.
I guess they got Game of Thrones money so they can do what they want, but
it's HBO. HBO likes to make their big shows.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd watch it. Just tons of dragons everywhere, and maybe there'll be some other like mythical creatures we're not familiar with. Yeah, but the fact that it's thousands of years means I guess there could still be family lineage in there, but it feels like that far in the past it shouldn't really matter, like who's...
Yeah, I think that's their goal. Like, they don't want to worry about the Starks or Lannisters. They want to start with a slate to create their own, so they don't have to, George Lucas said, we have to put all these characters in different cities by the end because they have to fight each other at the beginning of the next series, kind of thing. So I'm okay with that.
I'm intrigued, that's for sure.
They also have to compete with Amazon's, I think they said it's going to 5-season not Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings show. So I think you've got to, if they're going to do it, they got to do good. They got to beat Amazon's show.
Yeah,
so.
I hope you people really like your fantasy and dragons, because you're going to be getting a lot of it coming up here.
Do I ever, Mike? God, hopefully it's good. Hopefully, I just want it to be good. I don't care how many they do as long as it's good. So that's our news in a nutshell. Actually, no, this is me in a nutshell. Help, I'm trapped in a nutshell. It's wearing down on me, Mike. It's that time of day. But that's our news. Stuff will be here next week. I think we're doing an Incredibles next week, Mike. Is that...
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Incredibles. And then the week after that, we're going to be talking about, hopefully, or at least our initial impressions on Luke Cage.
Yes, definitely. If you guys have any reviews of the Incredibles or Luke Cage when it comes out, don't forget to let us know. We would love to hear from you so we can include it in the show. But if you don't watch Luke Cage all in one weekend, we totally understand. Yeah, that's really about it, Mike. If people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Well, if you want to check out my drawings, my art, my tweets, you can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to keep up with you, see if you're waking up in the early morning hours to watch more superhero movies, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Valdan, VALDAN. You also head over to Instagram, Valdan87. Over on Comic UI, I'm finally putting up the last 3 interviews of C2E2 this week. I'm just gonna boom them. Not gonna space them out here, and you can listen to those going up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And you can find me here on Superhero Slate, Mike. If people want to know more about us, or maybe where we're doing all these review episodes, or maybe they want to buy some ad space from us this summer for our big shows, where can they do that at?
Well, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues we host our show and to get our awesome show notes. So we talked about a ton of trailers, leaked concept art, and a tweet from Luke Cage. You can get all of that in our show notes. You don't have to hunt around the internet for that. We got those links for you at superheroslate.com. And you can find us, as always, on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And you can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. If you're a fan of the show, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love a review on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen. We love seeing your YouTube comments out there. We love hearing from you. And if you want to be a super fan of the show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week.
We will. It'll be every week, and sometimes twice a week if it's a movie release week. So I guess we will catch you guys for those then. I'll see you then.
All right, adios.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
I mean, you could just go for that look and then just say, "Hi, my name's Peter. I have a sticker on your thing."